everyone, Steph Beckett here from rAVe Pubs. I'm here at Save 2025, and I am so excited to be interviewing Chris Schyvinck of Shure. First of all, how are you on this lovely day?
Well, we're certainly enjoying the Southern California weather and some of the greenery around us today, so it's a really perfect setting for this event, I think.
Yeah, you had a really great talk earlier today, and I would just love to hear a little bit more about how Shure got involved with Save.
Absolutely. We got to meet them pretty close to the beginning of when we were starting our journey on sustainability, right around the time that I think there was just more awareness in the corporate world about sustainability and thinking about designing and manufacturing was about the same time that Save was being born. So I think we kind of got in on the ground level, and just by making some connections through the organization with other companies, other potential partners, that kind of kickstarted some of the effort for us, at least internally at Shure.
And you guys already kind of had that foundationally because you talked about in your talk how Essen Shore, the founder, has this like internal thing about being a good neighbor. Do you want to, I know you talked about it earlier, but I would love for you to talk to the watchers and listeners a little bit about what that means from a sustainability lens.
Well, Mr. Schure's core values are going on 100 years old at this point, the same age as the company. And his fourth core value was to make sure that we are a good corporate citizen and neighbor, and that we really pay attention to the places where we live and work. And I think this really started to play out when we, 5 years ago, started to formalize our efforts a bit more in terms of how we design our products, how we manufacture them, what the facilities that we work in are like in terms of energy consumption, and really thinking about that in our everyday life instead of just kind of set apart as a separate initiative. So towards the end of my talk today, I said one of the things that Mr. Shure said at this point, it was more than 80 years ago, is that as a business, we have to do the things and we have to have the partners that don't just help us, get by and see what we can get away with. Rather, we do what we do and we have the partners that we have because it's about doing the right thing.
Absolutely.
And so I feel like it comes full circle with what he said 80 years ago. Is this the right thing to do right now? Absolutely it is.
I was wondering if you talk about one or two of the sustainability initiatives that you're particularly proud of at Shure.
Absolutely. The first one came about more than a decade ago when we have so many of our wireless solutions used around the world. When you think about where you see Shure products, it's on stage, it's in higher education, it's in houses of worship. Our products are everywhere. And our users used to rely on AA batteries for their wireless products. And I'm afraid that a lot of those batteries did not get taken care of responsibly when a show would be over. And we worked with this one Broadway show where they were using so many batteries even when fresh.
Yeah.
They would just be better safe than sorry and just put in new batteries every single show. And so when we multiply out number of batteries that we think we're saving by going to rechargeable batteries, it's in the tens of millions. So that's just like the first kind of foray that we made into more green products. Then in more recent history, we have really looked at the packaging that goes around our products. We have to ship products all around the world, and they have to be safe. We don't want them damaged by the time a user is opening up that package. So we started looking at alternative things beyond just the typical plastic thermoformed sort of really hardcore, hard shell plastics into things like moldable pulp. And, it was a real endeavor to try to figure out for new products, for all of our existing products. We have a lot of inventory of packaging. How could we find new sources, maybe even new suppliers in some cases that had alternative technology? And so we set some really stringent goals around 2022 that at this point we wanted to be between 75 to 90% recyclable or renewable for all of our packaging, and we have been meeting those goals.
That's fantastic. You guys also have this amazing 2030 goal of being completely sustainable, and I would love for you to talk a little bit about what that means. just because I do think that there are other manufacturers in the industry that don't quite, like, they just can't think beyond packaging or, sustainability means so much. So I would love if you talked a little bit about that.
We have taken what we call a very holistic approach to it because it is beyond just the physical product that you see. It's the company's core values, our culture, how we let our associates grow and develop and be thinking about more creative ways to be doing things. And it's also just about our processes. And I guess the other P would be partners. So we need to think about it from all angles. And I think when we look at the 2030 goals that were set by the UN 10 years ago now, they are all encompassing too. They're not just about one small facet. So from the very onset, in learning from those particular goals, we were able to mirror ours to be, again, much more all-encompassing, much more holistic than just looking at physical items.
Well, Chris, thank you so much. And I did want to thank you again. You were one of the people that I looked up to when I first joined this industry. So it has been so nice getting to meet and talk with you.
That's really flattering. I appreciate that. And it was really a pleasure to talk to you today. Thank you.
Of course. So don't forget to go to Shure.com to learn more about Shure and their sustainability efforts. They have a whole page on it. And go to saveav.org to learn a little bit more about what Save is doing. And then, of course, you can go to ravepubs.com to read all of your latest pro AV and home AV news. Again, I'm Steph Beckett, and we'll see you next time.